welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and I'm here today to do a Taylor Jenkins reading vlog. So I got this idea right around the time Malibu Rising came out to go back and read some of her backlist, and it turns out that I had never read Taylor Jenkins Reid's debut album. If you have been following me since I think it was 2018 or 2019 I read this book, I absolutely adored Daisy Jones and the Six. It was my favorite book of that year and has definitely stayed one of my favorite books of all time. Later that year, I also read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and absolutely adored that. So when I heard that Malibu Rising was coming up, I knew that I needed to, first of all, pick it up, but second of all, read it right away. But I have still been intrigued by Taylor Jenkins Reid's backlist. I haven't heard like the best things. I know that her backlist mostly focuses on romance, where these are more of like historical takes, kind of. So I was really interested to see how her debut novel would compare to her newest novel. Forever Interrupted follows a girl named Elsie who has this kind of whirlwind romance with a man named Ben. Shortly after her and Ben marry, he is unfortunately in a car accident and passes away. Because their romance was so quick and their marriage was so fast, Elsie never had a chance to meet Ben's family, particularly his mom, who comes to the city when she hears that her son has been in a car accident, and the two main characters must, I'm assuming, form a bond, but we're gonna see. I have already started this and I am 50 pages in. No real thoughts yet. The writing is definitely weaker from what I've seen of Taylor Jenkins Reid now, but that makes sense just because she has like 7 books of experience since this one. But I am keeping my hopes open and hoping that I do really enjoy this one. Malibu Rising is one of my most anticipated novels of the year. This follows the story of the Rivas siblings. Every year they have a kind of like end of summer pool party. Nina is the talented surfer and supermodel. Her brothers Jay and Hud are surfers and photographers. And then they have a baby sister named Kit who doesn't seem to have anything of talent following this, but apparently everybody loves her. And together the siblings are a source of fascination in Malibu and the world over, especially as the offspring of the legendary singer Mick Riva, who was a character in The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So very excited to pick this one up. I'm nervous. I'm really nervous because this has been receiving a mixed bag, but Daisy Jones and the Six also received a mixed bag when it came out. So I'm hoping that this whole vlog won't be a dud and I'll just actually enjoy both of these, and I can pretty much confirm that Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of my favorite authors. So let's get into reading. So I'm currently 100 pages in. I'm getting through this thanks to Gavin over at How to Train Your Gavin, his 24-hour reading sprints. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you very much. The thing is that I'm 100 pages in and I'm not sure if there is anything that I'm particularly enjoying right now. At this point in the book, we are having flashbacks between chapters where we are getting to know Ben and Elsie's relationship, and then flashing forward to the relationship between Ben's mom, Susan, and Elsie. They are kind of having to work together to like plan Ben's funeral, and obviously like they're not getting along because they don't know each other, they never met. Both of them feel kind of like stilted as of late because they never met each other, kind of thing. So not that I'm not enjoying this, I'm just not feeling anything. I definitely can tell that Taylor Jenkins Reid's ability to evoke emotion is prevalent in here. While I'm not necessarily crying, I've seen a lot of reviews where people do cry about the situation and what is happening and evoking this emotional response from people. So I'm willing to continue, willing to see if it does evoke some sort of emotion from me, and if the plot will thicken, if I will start to really enjoy the characters. So I will keep you updated. I'm 167 pages into Forever Interrupted, and I I just don't care. I don't care about the main character. I don't care about her relationship with the main love interest. Like, it's not realistic. It is like completely irrational, like the way that they are behaving. And I know like love is irrational and like blah blah blah, but like I just don't find it good to read about. Ben, it seems like such a fucking, like, I don't know, I wouldn't deal with this. The conflicting element of this book is that the wife and the mother-in-law have never met before Ben dies. And this is completely Ben's fault. Like, he just couldn't tell his mother that he was dating a girl because he was worried that she was gonna be upset that he's happy. Pardon? How does that make sense? I don't know. I'm really worried that this is gonna be like a 1 to 2 star read. I'm gonna continue because the point of this book is to compare her first book, which could arguably and hopefully be her worst book, to her most recent book. So I'm pushing through. I'm gonna do it. I have like another 150 pages and then I'm done. So what you saw in that last clip was me reacting to finishing Forever Interrupted immediately afterwards. And I think it's pretty clear that I didn't particularly enjoy this book very much. I'm really disappointed and sad to say that I didn't enjoy the book at all. And while I understand the overall like theme or idea of the novel, that it is meant to give hope to moving forward, I think the message gets kind of convoluted and messy when readers look back at Elsie and Ben's relationship. The novel is split between 2 parts. One part of the book is following Elsie after her husband passes away, and the second timeline follows them falling in love. It just didn't really seem like a good couple to me at all. Elsie was incredibly self-centered, jealous, and insecure, and those portions really showcase that. Like, you can tell in the following chapters that she's self-centered, but you can kind of pass it off as grief and pass it off as someone who is suffering. But then when you read the portions where they're supposed to be falling in love, you see that she is just not a nice character, and I'm not sure if that is supposed to be conveyed as normal or normal reactions, but to me it just didn't come off that way. And it feels weird because I'm supposed to sympathize with this main character who just lost her husband, but I just couldn't stand her at all. I think if I liked Elsie or even Ben, the love interest, I would have enjoyed this book so much more because I would have been able to relate or at least appreciate the relationship and feel bad for Elsie as a character. I know the love story is supposed to feel rushed, and logically I was expecting that, but I just couldn't buy into their relationship at all. Additionally, the writing in the book is not what I've come to expect from Taylor Jenkins Reid, and that's not her fault because this is her debut and she literally wrote it like 8 years ago, and she's definitely like honed her craft since then. So given that this is a debut, it's one of the things that I did let slide very early on. Obviously want to enjoy everything I read from Taylor Jenkins Reid, and that's why this book is so disappointing to me. I would have given it a 1 star. I settled on a 2 star because there is a really sweet old man who visits the library that Elsie works at, and he deserves all the rights. So I actually think because I'm so disappointed in this book, I'm worried that if I jump into Malibu Rising right away, I'm going to not enjoy it just on the sheer fact that I didn't enjoy this one. So I will be moving into another book, not for this vlog, it'll just be like separate reading time, and then I'll come back when I start Malibu Rising. Hello, so I just finished up with my work day today and I'm going to be starting Malibu Rising. I have taken a break. I've read 2 books in between Forever Interrupted and Malibu Rising, and I'm definitely comfortable and ready to continue on this journey. A lot of people have validated my feelings towards Forever Interrupted. Some people that I know really enjoy Taylor Jenkins Reid basically told me like that's not her best work, like it really isn't. So I feel a lot better. I feel more motivated to pick up Malibu Rising, and I know that I came into liking Taylor Jenkins Reid during her like resurgence and people really liking her historical fiction books, which this book, as I mentioned in my TBR and I think at the beginning of this video, this falls under. So I'm really expecting to like it. I will be starting to read it now and hopefully get some reading done before I need to go grocery shopping. So I haven't updated in a while, but I'm actually 200 pages into Malibu Rising and I'm absolutely adoring it. This is the Taylor Jenkins Reid that I love. I love the way she writes historical, because how to word this? I want to say that I love the way that Taylor Jenkins Reid's writes characters, even though I didn't particularly enjoy Forever Interrupted. But now that I'm thinking about it, the only books I've read from her are these historical fiction books, right? So do I like the way she writes characters, or do I like the way she writes historical fiction? I'm not 100% sure anymore, because Forever Interrupted and Malibu Rising are such like a vastly different book in like genre, subject matter, scope, like the way that she was able to create, to put me into this world and make me hate the dad. This is also like a family saga, and I'm like a true sucker for family sagas. So the fact that it travels even more back in time to the Rivas's parents, around the time that this book came out, a lot of people weren't giving it like the best reviews. And I don't see why, because I really am enjoying the writing. Like, yeah, there's no plot, but like, I don't know if the point of the book is the plot. And that's something I really like in books sometimes, is that they're just a story. They are just a day-to-day saga of a family, and that's something that I really enjoy in books, and I've realized that I really enjoy in books. So we'll see how this goes. I'm in awe. Like, I'm listening to it on audio. It's beautifully narrated. Just, I feel like this might be a 5 stars. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like this might be a 5 stars. I'm going to continue reading maybe a bit more. Like, maybe I'll get to page 250 tonight. I don't want to read it all in one go because I'm enjoying it so much. Okay, so actually part 2 did end relatively after where I left off, so I decided to just end it there for today. I think it's a good spot to stop. So basically, because this is a family saga, we really learn about the Rivas siblings' parents, so June and Mick, and how their marriage fell apart and how it really affects them later on, especially and in particularly Nina. So far, at least, Nina really took it upon herself to become a parent to her siblings, and we are slowly learning how much stress that caused to her and how it led to her modeling. And she just sounds honestly like the best sister ever, to be honest. And I'm really looking forward to see how the other siblings' stories really develop from here, because so far the story that has actually developed is Nina's mostly, and Mick and June, which is their parents. Like I mentioned in the previous clip, I don't see this not being 5 stars, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this ends. I really hope part 2 is just as engaging, just as fascinating, and just as beautifully written as the first part.
Filmed this clip at the beginning of November. Look how it is now. Also, my fingers low.
So I just finished Malibu Rising, and I absolutely adored this. So for the reasons I mentioned previously in the vlog, I loved the family saga. The way that it tied together in the end was really great. I love that this book focused mainly on the power of siblings. I'm an older sibling, so I really related to Nina and the fact that Nina had to take care of her siblings, but the way that they came together in the end to kind of speak to their father and the ways that he treated them and the ways that he acted was a really mature ending, and I think it was realistic. Sometimes when you're reading some family saga books, they can kind of end in a way that's like implying that everything is good and great. The writing, as mentioned previously in this vlog, was very good. It's reminiscent of Taylor Jenkins Reid's previous books, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. Once again, I think Taylor Jenkins Reid does a great job captivating her readers and bringing them into the story, planting them in there, and creating characters that you care about. I did not give a fuck about the 2 characters in Forever Interrupted at all. Both of these books have a similar page count, but her craft is truly impeccable when we read her newer works compared to her older ones. Even though we had the same amount of time with them, they're so much better developed in this book, and there are more characters to care for, and you do. I'm settling on a 4.5 stars for this book. I don't think it's perfect, especially in part 2. The omniscient narrator becomes kind of overblown. All of a sudden, these perspectives from like other people that are at the party are suddenly integrated, and I don't really feel like they added anything to the ending. Like if they had added something, I would have cared, but they didn't really add much to the story, so I didn't understand why they were there, and why I can't give it a complete 5 stars. But I think if those sections, paragraphs were eliminated, I would have given this a 5 stars. I thought it was absolutely amazing. Like I said, love family sagas, love the feelings I got when reading this. I loved how the Riva family was so relatable, and it's what makes, I think, Taylor Jenkins Reid's characters in her newer books feel like something special. They feel like people who are famous, and they feel like people worth Googling when they're actually non-existent. So the point of this video was to see if Taylor Jenkins Reid has improved when comparing her newest work to her previous, and I would absolutely say yes. I think she definitely has. I think the proof is in Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six and Malibu Rising. If you've had a chance to read all 3, I think you'll definitely agree. But I think that's it for the vlog. I think you should definitely pick up Malibu Rising if you've been wanting to do so. I think it's really good and worth the read. Forever Interrupted, I would say maybe to avoid it. I don't think there was anything special about it. I don't think it brought anything forward for her catalog, and she has clearly improved her craft over time. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias, I do leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. Please let me know if you've read Forever Interrupted, if you've read Malibu Rising. Let me know your thoughts. How did you feel about them? Did you like them? Do you agree with me? Do you think her newer works are better than her older works? Let me know down below. Also, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It does wonders for my channel, but also makes me feel really good. And I don't know how to end these things as always, so I guess I will see you next time. Bye.